Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
So this is going to be the first in a series of videos in a playlist that I'm going to call Spiritual Mastery. Now, what I mean by that is, not becoming a guru or something or getting to a certain elevated level, although this kind of stuff can help you get there. There isn't really an end goal with this kind of stuff, but it's more or less just about building your spiritual skills, which means kind of getting in touch with the spirituality both inside of you and outside of you. So, for this one, I'm basically just going to talk about self reflection and self awareness. Now, tons of people go through life just, we're talking the Upwork home TV bed types. We're talking the people that might be like kind of grumpy, or those that really they're not really aware of the impact that they have on other people with their actions or the impact on themselves. So you could attach a wide range of topics to this kind of stuff, you know. Um Bad negative habits that might harm their own bodies, bad negative habits that might harm family members, even just not being aware of the different behaviors that they're doing that are affecting their own relationships. Just those that go through life and they have, you know, they're not in touch with who they are and what they're doing to other people. This is why self-reflection is very important, because if you're trying to improve yourself, you know, in any capacity, but of course we're talking in a spiritual-ish level in this video, then we kind of have to get in touch with that person that we are on the inside and understand that, like, I do think spirituality does have a little bit to do with how we relate to other people, how we relate to ourselves, the impact that we have on other people, because, people that you would consider like highly spiritually elevated, they don't really have negative impacts on other people, do they? Because I understand that, like, you could relate it to the how we're all connected, that kind of thing, how we are all one, if you want to go hippie like that, or just understanding the importance and like sanctity of life, that kind of stuff. Hope I'm making sense. Um, but self-reflection and self-awareness in the concept of spiritual mastery means being reflective about everything that you do. So, what are some kind of practices that we can do for this kind of thing? Journaling. If it's writing stuff down, or even if it's just recording yourself, because the brain doesn't understand if you're talking to yourself or someone else. So if you are talking to like your recorder, you might get a little bit deeper as you're kind of opening yourself up and going on a little bit of a rant. And then of course you can listen back to that kind of stuff um, from time to time and kind of gain some self reflection there. Journaling is fabulous because the more that you pour stuff out, you might find freedom of consciousness writing, where you're able to kind of go deep in stuff and understand where your motivations are, where your difficulties are, maybe some reflections on positive things that you did or negative things that you did, because nobody's perfect, and just kind of get more of an external view. And I talk about this in my channel a lot, metacognition about what you do and who you are. And kind of going back to my notes here a little bit, take the time for your introspection to understand your beliefs, values, and emotions. Reflect on your thoughts, actions, and patterns of behavior to identify areas for growth and improvement. So if we're talking growing spiritually, it's not just meditating all the time and having a regular spiritual practice and connecting with maybe connecting with deities, or being good at particular spiritual skills that you might have, depending on whatever practice you might do. So it's not just about, like, for me, stepping into my sacred space, I guess you could call it, or doing my meditation and mantras, or being very, very good at metacognition, which I could always get better at, with understanding what I'm doing and what I'm thinking before I do something and before I say something. or my ability to visualize. All of these different things are different skills that I can continue to grow with. Right now, even the way that I'm kind of adding more subject matter to my channel is a way of growth for me that is very, it feels weird, you know, even thinking about what I wanted to make as a video topic this morning. I was bouncing back and forth with a lot of these different notes that I'm taking, trying to figure out the best way to kind of package things when I make videos now, because I'm trying to kind of expand and add more than the topics that I've been talking about on this channel for, like, God, 8 years at this point, I think it is. Um, but as far as growing spiritually, which is the main topic of this whole thing that I made for notes, the self-reflection and self-awareness is what's going to power you through any kind of spiritual growth and whatnot. Because if you're self-aware and you have a bunch of reflection, then you're going to be able to tell where you are stuck and where you are growing, where you are moving, where you are changing, and where you are not. So that gives you the kind of the most basic tool for understanding growth. Because if we're not understanding of where we are and where we want to go and our faults, then how can we grow from there? And how do we even know that we're growing? So, interesting topic for, I love stepping into this kind of stuff, because spirituality isn't just about practices that you can do practically when you step in, like, over to your altar or break out your tools and whatnot. Spirituality and spiritual practices, to me, are, heavily inside the mind too, as much as they are on the outside. So hopefully you guys like this new series. Of course, this is all going to be on its own playlist, and maybe by the time you find it, I have a ton of videos on it. But for right now, this is video one of hypothetically, let's say a minimum of 10, maybe, but we'll see where that goes. Good hunting.